All right, so let's look at finding our roots, and this time I'm going to give you an x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. So we already spent a bunch of time working on factoring, so let's just recap it real quick. We can solve it by using factoring. So remember, we need two numbers that multiply to equal our last, which in this case is 12, and two numbers that add to equal my middle term. In this case, it's negative 8. So think through your different factors to multiply to 12. Well, we've got 1 times 12. That's not going to work. 2 times 6. Oh, that'll work. Because if I have negative 2 and negative 6, negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative plus a negative gives me my final answer that is also a negative. Perfect. So we're almost done. We know now x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. Can be rewritten as x minus 2, bracket, bracket, x minus 6 equals 0. That tells me, each one of those brackets tells me my answer. So my zeros are at x equals 2 and x equals 6. That's not too bad. All right. Well, what about if I use the quadratic formula? Not everything factors nicely. Sometimes we need to use our quadratic formula. All right, let's do it. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. To get our coefficients out of there, we've got a equals 1, b equals negative 8, and c equals 12. Once we've got those, we just have to stick it in the formula and take care of it. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Pop in our values. So we've got negative b is negative 8 plus or minus square root negative 8 squared minus 4a is 1 and c is 12. All divided by 2 times a, so 2 times 1. Let's simplify it up a little bit. Negative times a negative is a positive, so we have a positive 8 out front. Plus or minus the square root of 8 squared is 64. Notice that the negative is gone because it's squared. Minus 4 times 12 is 48. All divided by 2. So we've got a 8 plus or minus the square root of 16, all divided by 2, and we know the square root of 16 is really 4, so we're looking at 8 plus or minus 4 over 2. Just to finish up, we'll bring it up over here. So we've got two answers. X will be 8 plus 4 over 2, and x is going to be 8 minus 4 over 2. So notice we've got two answers. 8 plus 4 gives me 12 divided by 2, which is 6. And 8 minus 4 gives me a 4 over 2, which gives me 2. So there's my answers. X equals 6 and x equals 2. So it works. So that's good. Okay, let's try example 2. Here I have 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. My a value is the 2. My b value is negative 3. And my c value is negative 2. We're going to use the quadratic formula again. Let's get a little good practice in there. So we know x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Negative, so b is negative 3, plus or minus square root of negative 3 all squared, minus 4 times 2 times negative 2, all divided by 2 times a, which is 2. Let's simplify up our numbers. Negative times a negative gives me a positive 3 out front, plus or minus negative 3 squared gives me a 9. Negative times a negative gives me a positive 2. 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. All divided by 4. 3 plus or minus the square root of 25 over 4. So we're almost there. So I know my answers are going to be x is equal to 3 plus or minus 5, because the square root of 25 is 5, all divided by 4. So x equals 3 plus 5 over 4, which is 8 over 4, which is 2. And x equals 3 minus 5 over 2 over 4, which is negative 2 over 4, which is negative 1/2. And there's our two answers. Good. Okay, let's look at example 3. So this is a bit of a slightly different looking problem because notice I now have an equal sign in the middle. So I have to get my negative 14 over to the other side to get it all in the right locations. So let's add 14 to both sides. And what do we end up with? We've got 20x squared plus 27x plus 14 all equals 0. To use our quadratic formula, let's pick out our coefficients. So we know A is 20, B is 27, and C is 14. Now we can plug those into our great big quadratic formula, no problem. Let's see, x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Negative b is 27 plus or minus square root 27 squared minus 4 times a, which is 20, times c, which is 14, all divided by 2 times 20. Let's simplify our numbers a little bit. And we've got negative 27 plus or minus, well, 27 squared is 729 minus 4 times 20 is 80 times 14 is 1120, all divided by 2 times 20 is 40. Oh my. What's going to happen? We've got negative 27 plus or minus, well, 729 minus 1120 is going to give me a negative number. It's going to leave me with negative 391 all divided by 40. Well, can we take the square root of a negative number? No, we cannot. So when this is negative, so when we have the square root of a negative number, that means there are no real roots. So my equation this time, well, I had a positive up here. If I wanted to give it a quick little graph, I would see that because it's positive, it goes up. Well, my x-axis is going to be down there somewhere. Okay, now we've got a word problem. I just simplified it from our worksheet. We've got, the scenario is we've got a profit on a school drama production. It's modeled by P of x equals negative 60x squared plus 790x minus 1,000. X is the price of a ticket, and we want to figure out the break-even price. So before we even start solving, let's kind of think about this, wrap our brains around it. Well, we've got a negative quadratic, so we know it's going to look like this. We know we're talking about profit, so we know when things cross our x-axis, those x-intercepts are my break-even points. Any money we make above that is profit, and anything below that would be we would lose money. So above is make money, below is lose money, and our break-even points are when we cross our x-axis. So again, we're solving for when x is equal to 0. All right. First things first, we're going to use the quadratic formula. So A is negative 60, B is 790, and C is negative 1,000. We're going to pop those into our quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative 790 plus or minus square root of 790 squared minus 4 times negative 60, times negative 1,000. Sorry, I made that a little small. All divided by 2 times negative 60. I'm going to start over here, give myself a bit more space. Let's simplify that out. Negative 790 plus or minus. Well, the square root of 790 squared gives me 624,100 minus, so we've got a negative times a negative times a negative, so that stays minus. And 4 times 60 times 1,000 gives me 240,000, all divided by 2 times negative 60 gives me negative 120. They're big numbers, but that's okay. We got this. Negative 790 plus or minus the square root of, that all simplifies to 384,100, all divided by negative 120. So we know one answer is going to be negative 790 plus the square root of 384,100, all divided by negative 120. So if you're typing this into your calculator, make sure you either put the whole numerator in brackets or hit the button equals before you divide by negative 120. Otherwise, your calculator is just going to divide your square root answer by it, or it'll mix things up, or I don't know, it might get confused. So make sure you either put the numerator all in brackets or hit equals before you divide by this. So you should get this one will give you an answer of 1.4, round that to 2. So one answer would be a ticket price of $1.42. Maybe you sell a lot of tickets. And if we did the minus version, we would get x equals, hang on, you can't see that if I go too low. So we've got x equals negative 790 minus the square root of 384,100, all divided by negative 120. And you should get an answer of $11.75. So those would be my two ticket prices for my break-even point. The question goes on to ask a part B, looking for a maximum. And we've got a few different options there, so let's get ready for that one. All right, so to find the price to maximize profit, so this time, so we've already got our zeros. We know one zero is at $1.42 and the other one's at $11.75. What we want for the maximum profit is now we want our vertex. So we had a few steps to find our vertex. We need to find our axis of symmetry. Which mean that we add up our two x-intercepts and then divide that answer by 2. So in this case, we're going to do $1.42 plus $11.75, all divided by 2. So the x value of my vertex should be equal to 6.585. So therefore, tickets should cost, round that to a money number, $6.59 in order to get a maximum value. Now I know the question doesn't ask for maximum profit, but let's do that anyway. So my max profit, so that'll be the y value of vertex. So that'll be when we take our axis of symmetry and then we stick it back into the original question. And you're fine. It's just a calculator question. You got this. So let's see. I know my p of x is negative 60x squared plus 790x minus 1,000. So we just got to stick in this $6.59 to find our answer. So we want our profit at $6.59. So that equals negative 60 times 6.59 and bracket squared plus 790 times 6.59 minus 1,000. So that minus 1,000, I don't know, maybe that's the cost of the DJ or something. Okay, throw that in your calculator. All right, I threw the numbers in my calculator. So I found out that it's going to be negative 2,605.685 plus 5,206.1 minus 1,000. Final answer, which you could have all done in one step too, should give me 6811.786. So therefore, the maximum profit, turn this into dollars, is $6,811.79. Voila. Well done, guys.